The alarm sound woke Commander Quan from his sleep. Red lights flashed in his small room on the space station. He rolled out of bed and put on his uniform quickly. Something big was happening. Quan ran to the control room. Their officers were already there, looking at bright screens full of numbers and charts. His helper, Officer Neela, turned to him with wide eyes. "Sir, you need to see this," she said. Her voice shook a little. "We found something strange in the outer part of space." Quan walked to the main screen, showed a map of stars and planets. One small dot was blinking red. The dot was in a place called the Sol System. Quan knew that name from old files. "Sol System?" he asked. "That place is dead. We checked it many years ago." "That's what makes this so strange, sir," Neela said. Pressed some buttons, and new numbers appeared on the screen. "Look at these readings." Quan studied the numbers. His face went pale. "This can't be right. Check the machines again." Neela pressed more buttons. The same numbers came back. "Sir, the machines are working fine. There's something very big moving in that system. Something huge." The numbers showed. A ship. But not just any ship. This ship was bigger than anything Quan had ever seen. It was bigger than their biggest warships. It was bigger than their space cities. It was like a mountain flying through space. "How big is it?" Quan asked. "About 15,000 meters long, sir. Maybe more."
8.
Quan felt cold. In all his years working for the Galactic Council, he had never seen a ship that big. The Council ruled over 12 different alien races. Each race was very smart and built amazing ships, but none of them built ships this big. "What about the technology?" Quan asked. "What kind of engines does it have?" Neela looked at more numbers. "That's the strange part, sir. The ship looks old. Very old. Doesn't use quantum drives or space-folding engines. It just uses regular rocket engines." "But sir, there are so many engines, hundreds of them." Quan thought about this. No ship that big with old technology made no sense. Modern ships were small and fast. They used advanced science to fold space and travel quickly between stars. This ship was the opposite of everything smart shipbuilders knew. "Sir," Neela said quietly, "there's something else. The ship is not alone." More dots appeared on the screen. Smaller ships surrounded the big one. They looked like guard dogs protecting their master. "How many ships?" Quan asked. "We count at least 50 smaller ships, sir. All of them use the same old technology." Quan pulled up the old files about the Sol System. The report was from 847 years ago. A council exploration team had visited the system. They found 9 planets around a yellow star. The third planet had been interesting for a short time. The planet had oceans and air that could support life. But when the exploration team got there, they found only ruins. Big cities had been destroyed. The ground was still hot from atomic bombs. The air was poisoned. Whatever race had lived there had killed themselves in a war. The report said no intelligent life, Quan said, reading the old files. The race that lived there was extinct. "Maybe some of them escaped before their planet died," Neela suggested. "Maybe they've been living in space all these years." Quan thought about this. It was possible. Sometimes races survived the death of their home planets. But usually, they came to the Council for help. They asked for new planets to live on. They wanted protection and technology. These ships in the Sol, the system had not asked for help. They had not even sent a message to say hello. They were just there, moving slowly through space like they owned it. "Sir," another officer called out, "the big ship is changing direction. It's moving toward the edge of their system." Quan watched. The screen, the huge ship, was indeed moving. Its escort ships moved with it, staying in perfect formation. Where were they going? "Are they leaving the system?" Quan asked. "No, sir. They're going to the outer planets." The ones with ice and gas? Quan felt worried. Races usually went to outer planets for 2 reasons. Either they were looking for materials, to build things, or they were setting up military bases. Neither reason made him feel good. "Sir, should we tell the High Council?" Neela asked. Quan thought carefully. The High Council was made up of the leaders of all 12 races. They met in a huge space station near the center of the galaxy. They made all the important decisions about peace and war. The council had rules about new races. When they found intelligent life, they sent diplomats to make contact. They offered friendship and technology. Most races were happy to join the council and follow its rules, but sometimes races were difficult. Sometimes they wanted to be independent. Sometimes they were aggressive. Yet the council had ways to deal with difficult races too. Yes, Quan said finally. Send the report to the High Council. Tell them we found survivors from the Sol system. Tell them about the ships. Neela typed the message quickly. In a few hours, the council leaders would read about the mysterious ships. They would decide what to do, Sir Neela said as she finished. The message, what do you think that race calls itself? Quan looked at the screen again. The huge ship continued moving through the darkness of space. Its engines glowed like angry red eyes. The ship looked dangerous. It looked like it was built for war, not exploration. I don't know, Quan said, but I have a feeling we're going to find out soon. He didn't know that the race called themselves humans. He didn't know they had spent hundreds of years turning their entire civilization into a weapon. He didn't know they had learned to survive. In the emptiness between stars, most importantly, he didn't know that humans had their own rules about meeting other races. Rules written in the ashes of their dead world and the blood of their fallen heroes. The council was about to meet a race that had already died once and refused to stay dead. The galaxy would never be the same. Captain Jinha stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution. The bridge was not pretty like the ships other races built. Everything was made of thick metal. The walls were covered with screens, buttons, and warning lights. Red lights flashed constantly, telling the crew about problems that needed fixing. Jinha was 45 years old. His face had scars from the early days when human ships broke down in space. His eyes were hard and tired. He had seen too many friends die in the darkness between stars. Captain, said Harin from her station. She was the ship's navigation officer. Her job was to guide the Retribution through space and watch for danger. I'm seeing something on the sensors. Jinha walked over to look at Harin's screen. Small dots were moving toward them. The dots were very far away, but they were getting closer. What are they? Jinha asked. Unknown ships, sir. They're small, much smaller than us. Harin pressed some buttons and more information appeared. They're using technology I don't understand. Their engines don't make sense. Jinha nodded. For 50 years, humans had been alone in space. They'd never met other intelligent races. Many humans thought they were the only smart life in the galaxy. Behind them, Earth was dead. The planet was covered in radioactive dust from the Great War. Billions of humans had died when the bombs fell. The survivors had built ships and escaped to space. They had no choice. Stay on Earth and die, or go to the stars and maybe live. The Retribution was humanity's first real starship. It was not elegant or beautiful. It was built like a fortress that could fly. The ship was 15 kilometers long and covered in armor. It had weapons everywhere. Every part of the ship was designed to survive damage and keep fighting. Captain Harin said, the unknown ships are trying to talk to us. What are they saying? It's not words. They're sending numbers and pictures. Simple math, pictures of stars and planets. Jinha thought about this. Other intelligent races existed. They were trying to make peaceful contact. It should have been good news. But Jinha felt worried instead of happy. Show me the pictures, he said. Harin put the alien pictures on the main screen. The pictures showed mathematical formulas. They showed diagrams of atoms and molecules. They showed star maps. The aliens were trying to prove they were intelligent and peaceful. They're smart, Harin said. Very smart. Look at these energy readings from their ships. Captain, their technology is far beyond ours. Jinha studied the sensor data. The alien. Ships were small, but they contained power sources that humans couldn't understand. Their engines created no heat and made no noise. They moved through space like they were dancing instead of flying. How small are their ships? Jinha asked. Each one is about 200 meters long. Captain, just one of our gun turrets is bigger than their entire ships. But Jinha knew that size didn't always matter. These aliens had technology that was hundreds of years ahead of human science. They could probably destroy the Retribution easily if they wanted to fight. "Sir," said another crew member, "they're sending a new message. This one is different." The new message appeared on the screen. It showed pictures of different alien races standing together. It showed ships traveling between stars. It showed planets covered in cities and farms. The message was clear. "Join us, and we will give you these things." "They want us to be friends," Haran said. Ginha looked around the bridge. His crew was watching him, waiting for orders. These people had been born on dying ships or dead planets. They had grown up knowing that the universe was trying to kill them. They had learned to trust only themselves and their weapons. "Let's open a communication channel," Jinha said. "Let's talk to them." The main screen changed. Now it showed the inside of an alien ship. The alien who appeared was tall and thin. Its skin was blue, and its eyes were large. It wore a uniform that looked expensive and clean. "Greetings, unknown vessel," the alien said. A computer translated its words into human language. "I am Captain Vexhai of the Galactic Council. We come in peace to welcome you to galactic civilization." Jinha stepped forward. He was wearing his old military uniform. It was patched and worn from years of use. Compared to the alien's perfect appearance, Ginha looked rough and dangerous. "This is Captain Ginha of the United Earth ship Retribution," he said carefully. "We appreciate your welcome," Captain Vexhai smiled. It seemed friendly, but Jinha noticed the alien's confidence. Vexhai acted like he was in charge of this meeting. "Your ship is quite impressive for its technological level," Vexhai said. "We can see your people value strong construction. The Council can offer many improvements to your technology." "The Council?" Ginha asked. "The Galactic Council governs this part of space. 12 advanced races work together to maintain peace and order. We can offer your people membership in our civilization." Haren moved closer to Ginha. She whispered quietly, "Captain, look at their ship design. Everything is built for efficiency and comfort. I don't see any heavy weapons or armor." Ginha nodded slightly. The aliens had incredible technology, but their ships looked like they had never been in a real fight. They were built by people who expected the universe to be safe and predictable. "Would membership require?" Jinha asked. "It's standard integration procedures," Vexi explained. "Your people would be given protectorate status while you learn about galactic civilization. We would guide your technological development and help you establish colonies on suitable worlds." The word protectorate made Jinha's jaw tighten. Horan saw the change in her captain's expression and moved her hand toward her weapon controls. "You would control our expansion?" Jinha asked, his voice getting quieter. "Not control, guide," Vexai said quickly. "The galaxy has limited resources. The Council prevents conflicts by managing how new races develop and spread." Ginha was quiet for a long moment. He thought about Earth, burning in atomic fire. Thought about the colony ships that had failed and died in deep space. He thought about children growing up in metal rooms, breathing recycled air, never seeing a real sky. "Captain Vexai," Jinha said finally, "humanity has learned some hard lessons. We learned them when our world died. We learned them when our first ships broke apart in space. We learned them when we almost went extinct." He stepped closer to the camera. "We learned that the universe doesn't care if we live or die. The only thing that matters is our willingness to fight for survival. And we learned that anyone who tries to limit our survival becomes a threat to our survival." The alien's confident smile faded slightly. "I think," Jinha continued, "the Council should reconsider its approach to humanity. We didn't survive the death of our world by accepting other people's rules." The communication ended. Jinha turned to his crew. "Battle stations," he said quietly. "I think we're about to teach the galaxy what it means to be human." 3 days after the first meeting, Captain Vexi invited the humans to visit his ship. He wanted to talk more about bringing humanity into the Galactic Council. Vexhai was sure he could make the humans understand how good council membership would be for them. Jinha agreed to the meeting. He took Haran and 2 other officers with him. They flew a small shuttle from the Retribution to the alien ship called Harmony's Edge. The alien ship was beautiful inside. The walls were smooth and white. Soft lights made everything glow peacefully. The air smelled like flowers. Everything was clean and perfect. Heron looked around with wide eyes. "Captain," she whispered, "this ship is like a palace. Look at how advanced everything is." Ginha nodded, but he felt uncomfortable. The ship was too perfect. It looked like it was built by people who had never known danger or fear, Captain. Vexia met them in a large room with big windows that showed the stars outside. Other alien officers were there too. They all looked calm and confident. "Welcome aboard," Vexai said with a smile. "Please sit down. We have much to discuss." The humans sat at a table made of some kind of crystal. It was beautiful, but Jinhal noticed it would break easily if it hard. "Your ship is impressive," Vexai began. "We can see your people are good builders. But with council technology, you could build ships that are much better, faster, more efficient, more comfortable. What would we have to do to get this technology?" Ginha asked. "It's simple," Vexai explained.
How?
"Your people would become a protectorate of the council. We would guide your development. We would help you choose which planets to colonize. We would make sure you don't have conflicts with other races." Horan leaned forward. "What do you mean by guide our development?" Another alien officer answered. His skin was green, and he had 4 arms. "New races sometimes make mistakes. Expand too quickly. They use dangerous technologies. They start wars. The council prevents these problems." "You would control where we go?" Jinha asked. His voice was very quiet. "We would help you choose the best places," Vexai said. "The galaxy is big, but good planets are rare. The council makes sure everyone gets what they need without fighting." Ginha stood up slowly. Out of the aliens. It looked like he was being polite. They didn't know that humans stood up like that when they were ready to fight. "Captain Vexai," Jinha said, "let me tell you about humanity. 50 years ago, our world was dying. Billions of people were killed in atomic wars. The air was poisoned. The water was radioactive. Most races would have given up and died. Walked to the window and looked out at the retribution. The huge human ship looked ugly and dangerous next to the elegant alien vessels. We didn't give up. We built ships from the ruins of our cities. We launched them into space with our children inside. Many ships failed. Many people died. But some survived." Haren watched her captain carefully. She could see he was getting angry. "We learned something important," Jinha continued. "The universe is not kind. It doesn't care about our feelings or our rights. The only thing that matters is strength. The strength to survive. The strength to protect our people. The strength to take what we need." Vexai looked worried now. "Captain Jinha, I think you misunderstand. The council doesn't want to hurt your people. We want to help you." Jinha turned around. His eyes were hard and cold. "You want to control us? You want to decide where we can go? You want to decide how fast we can grow? You want to make us weak and dependent on you?" "That's not true," Vexai said quickly. "The council system has brought peace to the galaxy for thousands of years." "Peace for who?" Haran asked. We had been studying the alien ship's design while they talked. "Captain, their weapons are very weak. Their armor is almost nothing. These people have never fought a real war." The aliens looked at each other nervously. They were starting to understand that this meeting was not going well. "Your peace," Jinha said, "is built on controlling other races. You keep everyone weak, so no one can challenge you. You call it civilization, but it's really slavery." "Wrong," the green alien said. "The council protects smaller races from what?" Jinha interrupted. "From freedom? From making their own choices? Gosh. From growing strong enough to defend themselves?" Vexai tried to calm the situation. "Please, Captain Jinha."
Sit down.
"Let's discuss this peacefully." "There's nothing to discuss," Jinha said. "Humanity will not accept protectorate status. Will not ask permission to expand. Will not limit our growth to make you feel safe." He walked toward the door. Harin and the other humans followed him. "If you leave now," Vexai called out, "you're making a big mistake. The council has rules. Races that don't follow the rules face consequences." Ginha stopped at the door, turned around one last time. "Captain Vexai, let me give you some advice. Your council has ruled for thousands of years because you never met a race like humanity. You never met a people who chose to fight instead of submit. You never met survivors. Harin stepped forward. We've studied your ships. Your technology is amazing, but it's built for peace. Our technology is crude, but it's built for war. Guess. Which one wins when the shooting starts? The aliens said nothing. They were finally beginning to understand what they were dealing with. Go back to your council, Jinha said. Tell them that humanity claims the Sol system and all space within. 50 light years. Tell them we don't recognize their authority. Tell them we will defend ourselves if they try to force us to obey their rules. You can't claim that much space, Vexa protested. It violates council law. We don't follow council law, Jinha replied. We follow human law, and human law says we take whatever we need to survive. The humans walked out of the room. As they headed back to their shuttle, Harin whispered to Jinha, Captain, do you think they'll try to stop us by force? Jinha looked back at the alien ship one more time. It was beautiful and advanced, but it looked fragile, like something that would break if hit too hard. Yes, he said. And when they do, they'll learn why humanity survived when our world died. They returned to the Retribution. Within hours, Jinha gave orders to prepare for war. Human engineers worked day and night to get the ship's weapons ready. They built new missiles and loaded the railguns. With metal slugs that could punch through almost anything, the Council had offered humanity peace and protection. Humanity had chosen freedom and strength instead. Soon the galaxy would learn the difference between a race that had always known peace and a race that had earned their survival through blood and fire. The war was coming, and humanity was ready. News of the failed meeting spread quickly through Council space. Commander Quan sat in his office, reading report after report about human activity. What he saw made him very worried. In just 3 months, humanity had done something impossible. They had launched 17 colony ships from their giant vessel. Each ship carried 5,000 humans and enough equipment to build a new world. Sir, Officer Neela said as she entered his office, the humans have claimed 12 star systems. They're not asking permission. They're just taking them. Quan looked at the star map on his wall. Red dots showed where human ships had gone. The humans were expanding faster than any race in Council history. This is wrong, Quan said. New races are supposed to take centuries to expand. They're supposed to ask the Council for guidance. The humans are ignoring all the rules. Sir, there's more, Neela continued. They're building things. Industrial platforms, mining stations, defensive weapons. They're not just exploring, they're preparing for war. Meanwhile, Admiral Haren commanded humanity's second big ship, the UES Defiance. It was smaller than the Retribution, but just as dangerous. Haren's job was to protect the human colony ships and claim new systems for humanity. The Defiance was currently in the Kepler 442 system. This system had a planet that could support human life. Haren's engineers were already changing the planet's atmosphere to make it breathable for humans. Admiral, her communications officer, called out, "We're getting a message from the Council. They say this system is protected. They want us to leave." Haren looked at the planet below. It was a beautiful world with blue oceans and white clouds. In a few years, human children would play on its beaches. Human families would build homes in its green valleys. "What kind of protection?" she asked. "They say it's an archaeological site. Some alien race used to live here long ago. The Council says it's culturally important." Haren studied the sensor readings. "I see ruins of old cities, but no living. Aliens. The planet is empty." 3 Council patrol ships appeared at the edge of the system. They were small and elegant, with smooth hulls and bright lights. They looked more like pleasure yachts than military vessels. "Admiral Haren," came a transmission from the lead Council ship. "You are violating Galactic Heritage Site Protocol 847. Stop your terraforming operations and leave this system immediately." Haren opened a communication channel. Her image appeared. On the Council ship's screens, she was young for an admiral, only 32 years old, but her eyes held the same hard determination that all human survivors shared. "I am Admiral Haren of the United Earth ship Defiance," she said calmly. This system contains no intelligent life. Our surveys show valuable resources and terraforming potential. Under human law, uninhabited systems are subject to immediate claiming and development. This system is protected by council law, the patrol leader replied. Council law does not apply to humanity, Hurin said firmly. We are not council members, did not agree to council authority. We recognize no sovereignty except our own. The council ships moved into a blocking formation. They positioned themselves between the human industrial platforms and the planet. Their energy shields glowed brightly, and their advanced weapons powered up. Admiral, you will cease operations immediately, or we will be forced to take action, the patrol leader warned. Hurin looked around her bridge. Her crew was ready. They had trained for this moment their entire lives. Tactical officer, she said quietly, prepare kinetic bombardment. Target the space around the council ships, not the ships themselves. Ma'am, the tactical officer asked, confused. We're not murderers, Hurin explained. We need to show them what human warfare looks like. The Defiants had weapons that the council couldn't understand. Instead of energy beams or fancy missiles, humans used simple physics. They fired pieces of metal very, very fast. Fire, Hurin ordered. Thousands of metal slugs shot out from the Defiance's railguns. Each slug was small, but they moved at incredible speed. The council ship's sensors detected the incoming projectiles, but their defensive systems had never faced anything like this. The metal slugs didn't hit the council ships directly. Instead, they exploded in the empty space around them. Explosions created a cloud of fast-moving debris that surrounded the alien vessels. The council ship's energy shields were designed to stop laser beams and plasma bolts. They were not designed to stop thousands of tiny metal pieces moving at high speed. Within minutes, all three ships were badly damaged. Their engines were broken. Their weapons were destroyed. Their crews were alive but helpless. Council patrol. Ships, Hurin transmitted. This is Admiral Hurin. We are not monsters, but we are survivors. And survivors do not ask permission to survive. Human rescue shuttles immediately launched from the Defiance. They flew to the damaged council ships and began helping the alien crews. Hurin had made her point without killing anyone. News of the Kepler incident reached the council assembly. Within hours, for the first time in 3,000 years, someone had used military force against council ships and claimed they were right to do it. High Admiral Zektar of the Druman race called an emergency meeting. He was the council's top military commander, a brilliant strategist who had never lost a battle. This is unacceptable, he told the assembled council leaders. The humans have violated every law of galactic civilization. They must be stopped. What do you recommend? Asked the council chairman. A show of force, Zektar replied. Send a battle fleet to human space. Demonstrate the consequences of defying council authority. Force them to accept protectorate status. The council voted unanimously. Within days, 30 of their most advanced warships began moving toward the Sol system. Each ship represented the pinnacle of galactic military technology. They had quantum shields, dimensional weapons, and communication systems that allowed perfect coordination across vast distances. Zektar was confident. The humans had one big ship and a few smaller vessels. The council fleet could destroy them easily. After that, humanity would have no choice but to accept council rule. But Zektar made the same mistake that every enemy of humanity had made. He assumed humans thought like other races. He assumed they would surrender when faced with superior force. He didn't understand that humans had turned their entire species into a weapon aimed at the heart of extinction itself. As the council fleet approached Sol system, human settlements throughout their claimed territory received the same message. Prepare for war. The enemy comes to make us slaves. Show them what it costs to threaten human freedom. In mining stations, in colony ships, on industrial platforms and military bases, humans stopped their normal work and began preparing for battle. They had hoped for peace, but they had always expected war. The galaxy was about to learn the difference between a race that had always known peace and a race that had earned their survival through endless struggle. The final battle was coming, and humanity was ready to remind the universe why they had refused to die when their world burned. The Council's war fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system like a storm of stars. 30 ships, each one a masterpiece of alien technology, moved in perfect formation toward humanity's home. High Admiral Zektar commanded the fleet from his flagship, confident that this would be an easy victory. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "we're detecting massive defensive preparations throughout the system. The humans have been very busy." Zektar studied the sensor readings with growing surprise. The Sol system no longer looked like a simple star system with one big human ship. It looked like a fortress. The Retribution waited for them near Earth, but it was no longer alone. Wow. Dozens of smaller human ships surrounded it like angry guard dogs. Asteroid mining stations had been turned into weapons platforms. The moons of Jupiter and Saturn bristled with missile launchers and railguns. But the real shock was what the humans had done to the asteroids themselves. Hundreds of space rocks had been fitted with engines and guidance systems. They floated throughout the system like sleeping giants ready to become kinetic weapons. "This is impossible," Zektar's science officer said. "They've militarized an entire star system in less than a year. The resource requirements alone should have taken decades." "They're more organized than we thought," Zektar admitted. "But superior organization cannot overcome superior technology." Begin the attack. Fleet Admiral Jinha stood on the bridge of the Retribution, watching the alien fleet approach. His ship had grown since the first meeting with Captain Vexhai. Human engineers had added more weapons, more armor, more engines. The great ship looked even more like a flying mountain than before. Admiral Haran reported from her position commanding the Mobile Defense Force. "The enemy fleet is moving into attack formation. 30 ships, just like our intelligence predicted." "Any signs they want to talk first?" Jinha asked. "No, sir. They're powering weapons and raising shields. They came here to fight." Jinha nodded. He'd hoped the Council would choose peace, but he had prepared for war. Round him his bridge crew worked calmly and quietly. These people had been born in space, raised on stories of Earth's destruction. They knew that survival meant being ready to fight anyone, anywhere, for any reason. "Open a channel to all human forces," Jinha ordered. His voice was broadcast to every human ship, station, and settlement in the system. 80,000 people heard their leader's words. "My fellow humans," Jinha began, "today we face our greatest test. The Galactic Council has come to force us into submission. They believe their advanced technology makes them superior to humanity. They believe we will surrender when faced with overwhelming force." He paused, looking out at the approaching enemy fleet. "They don't understand what we are. We're the children of a dead world. We are the survivors of extinction. We are the people who looked at the impossible and decided to do it anyway. Today, we show the galaxy what it truly means to be human." The battle began when the Council ships opened fire with their energy weapons. Bright beams of concentrated plasma struck human defensive positions. The aliens expected their superior firepower to quickly destroy the primitive human defenses. Instead, they discovered that humans built things to last. The weapons platforms absorbed the energy blasts and kept firing back. The asteroid bases were heavily armored and had backup systems for their backup systems. Human ships that took direct hits just shrugged off the damage and continued fighting. "Their defenses are stronger than predicted," Zektar's tactical officer reported. "Our weapons are having minimal effect." "Impossible," Zektar said. "Our plasma cannons can destroy any known armor." "Sir, I don't think their armor is made of normal materials. It looks like they welded together metal from their destroyed cities. The composite is incredibly tough." Meanwhile, humanity's response was unlike anything the Council had ever faced. Instead of elegant energy weapons, humans used brute force physics. Railguns fired metal slugs at incredible speeds. Missile swarms launched from hidden positions. Throughout the system, most terrifying of all, the weaponized asteroids began moving toward the Council fleet. Admiral Haran's voice came over the communication system. "The enemy's shields are very strong, but they're designed for energy weapons. Our kinetic attacks are getting through." "Was right. The Council ship's quantum shields could deflect." laser beams and plasma bolts perfectly. But they weren't designed to stop fast-moving chunks of metal. Every human attack that hit caused real damage. The tide of battle turned when the humans did. Something that violated every rule of space warfare. Instead of trying to outmaneuver the enemy, human ships began ramming Council vessels. The first ram attack came from a damaged human destroyer. Its engines were failing, and its weapons were destroyed. Instead of retreating, the captain pointed his ship at the nearest Council vessel and pushed the engines to maximum power. "What are they doing?" Zektar demanded as he watched the human. "Ship accelerate toward one of his cruisers." The human destroyer hit the alien ship at tremendous speed. Both vessels were destroyed in the collision. But the explosion damaged two other Council ships nearby. Then more human ships began doing the same thing. Damaged vessels became guided missiles. Ships that were losing fights turned themselves into kinetic weapons. Human crews smiled as they flew their ships into enemy formations, knowing their sacrifice would help their people survive. Sir Zektar's communications officer said with a shaking voice, "We're receiving a transmission from the human flagship." Heron's face appeared on the main screen. Her ship, the Defiance, was badly damaged but still fighting. Behind her, the bridge was filled with smoke and sparks. "Council fleet," she said calmly. "You came here expecting to fight a normal space battle. You expected us to follow the same rules you follow. You expected us to surrender when we started." "Losing," she smiled, and there was no fear in her eyes. "But we're not a normal race. We're humanity. We're the species that turned our entire civilization into a weapon pointed at the throat of extinction. Every ship you destroy takes one of yours with it. Every battle you win costs you more than you can afford to lose." The truth of her words was clear on Zektar's tactical display. His fleet had started with 30 ships, while he had 18 left, and most of those were damaged. The humans still had dozens of vessels, and their major defensive positions were still operational. "We don't fight to win battles," Haren continued. "We fight to survive. And we've learned that the best way to survive is to make the cost of fighting us greater than the cost of leaving us alone." As if to prove her point, 3 more human ships crashed into Council formations. The humans were literally throwing their lives away to protect their freedom, and somehow, it was working. Zektar realized with growing horror that he was going to lose. His advanced fleet was being destroyed by primitives who used their own ships as weapons. The humans were winning through sheer, insane determination to never surrender. "All ships," he ordered, "begin withdrawal. Fall back to minimum safe distance." Surviving Council ships retreated, leaving the Sol system to humanity. As they fled, Jinha's final message followed them across space. "Tell the Council that humanity has spoken. We are not subjects to be ruled. We are not primitives to be guided. We are the fire that burns in the darkness, and that fire will spread to every star we can reach. The galaxy will remember our name because we will never stop fighting for our right to exist." 5 years later, the galaxy had changed completely. The Council still existed, but dozens of other races had declared independence, inspired by humanity's example. The age of managed civilization was over. Human settlements now covered hundreds of star systems. Each world was a fortress, each colony a military base. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy, but they had liberated it from the idea that survival required submission, and in the depths of space, new human ships continued to launch toward distant stars, carrying the same message that had defined their species since they first looked up at the night sky. "We are here. We endure. We will not be forgotten. The galaxy would never be the same."